¿Qué tal, chicos? Mi nombre es Hawani. Today, I want to give you one very important verb that will really benefit your Spanish conversation, especially if you're a beginner, and that verb is the verb acordarse. Acordarse, which means to remember. For example, if I wanted to say in Spanish, I don't remember, I would say, no me acuerdo. No me acuerdo. I don't remember. Two very important things to take note of though before we dive into the verb acordarse is the verb acordarse is obviously reflexive, so we have to say me acuerdo, or te acuerdas, te acuerdas. The second thing to be aware of with the verb acordarse is I'm going to give you a few examples and see if you can pick up on the grammatic structure. For example, if I want to say I don't remember him, I would say in Spanish, no me acuerdo de él. No me acuerdo de él. Or if I wanted to say, yes, I remember you, I would say in Spanish, sí, me acuerdo de ti. Sí, me acuerdo de ti. Taking a look at those two examples, what do you notice in the grammatic structure of these phrases? Yeah, so notice how de comes straight after the verb acordarse. So yes, this is part of the grammatic structure when it comes to using the verb acordarse. So if it helps, try to remember it as a complete phrase, me acuerdo de, or no me acuerdo de, as a complete phrase, so you remember that de does come after the verb acordarse. However, there are a couple of odd scenarios depending on the words that you're using straight after the verb where we would just drop the word de and just put in the rest of the phrase that we want to use. But for the most part, de will come after the verb acordarse. Moving forward, now that we know the structure of how to use this important verb in Spanish, let's try a few examples just so you get the hang of it, and then you can go out there and start practicing it in your Spanish conversations. So I'll do the first example for you. If I were to say in Spanish, I don't remember her, I would say, no me acuerdo de ella. No me acuerdo de ella. So looking at that example there, again, you'll notice we're conjugating the verb acordarse in the yo form. We've then got de straight after the verb acordarse, and then we've just got ella to mean her. So I don't remember her. No me acuerdo de ella. Moving forward, I want you to try this example now. I'll give you 10 seconds and see if you can come up with this. Obviously, if you do need more time, feel free to hit pause on the video. How would you say in Spanish, yes, I remember them? So, yes, I remember them. How would you say that? You'd say, sí, me acuerdo de ellos. Sí, me acuerdo de ellos. Again, if we break it down, you'll see that we're conjugating the verb acordarse in the yo form, and then we've got de straight after the verb as we spoke about before. Moving forward, let's try a few more. Let's try one in the tú form this time though. How would you say in Spanish, do you remember my brother? Do you remember my brother? How would you say that? This time you would say, ¿te acuerdas de mi hermano? ¿Te acuerdas de mi hermano? So, do you remember my brother? Again, breaking it down, you'll see this time we're conjugating the verb acordarse in the tú form, in the indicative or the present tense, of course. We've then got de straight after that, as we spoke about before. Let's try another one. Do you remember his or her? Do you remember his or her name? This time you'd say, ¿te acuerdas de su nombre? ¿Te acuerdas de su nombre? Again, breaking this one down, conjugating the verb acordarse in the dual form. But one thing you'll notice is, if you haven't seen this before, we've got su nombre. So just remember that in Spanish, su can mean his or her. Moving forward, you can probably understand why this verb is so important in Spanish, and then once you start to get more comfortable with your Spanish and start to increase your vocabulary and mix it up with different tenses, then you can start using this verb with other verbs as well. For example, I think I remember him. Creo que me acuerdo de él. Creo que me acuerdo de él. So I think I remember him. Aside from that, if you did get any value from this video, I would really appreciate it if you consider hitting that like button and consider subscribing if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next one. Hasta pronto.